Okay, Justin, so a 7-0 defeat at home to Wales. What's your initial thoughts on that?
Just gutted, really. It's frustrating day. Far too many of these days seem to be happening at the moment, which is the biggest, more of a collective issue, I think. Yeah, I don't. They're a very good team, but I don't think they're a 7-0 better than us team, and I think we let ourselves down today, really, especially in the first 10 minutes, where 5-0 down after 10 minutes is just obviously completely unacceptable, and they all know that, and we've just got to sort of we've told them what we think in there, so obviously we had to sort of do that. I think it's only fair, and they know what we think about it, but we've got to move on. And we've played Cheddar and Wales, and with the form we were in, I think to get the 3 points out of those two games is probably better than what we thought, or well, I always expect us to do well, and I'll always back us, but I think generally people didn't expect us to get anything out of those games, so we'll try and look at it as a collective in those two games and move on to games that are playing teams in and around us. So we'll try and move on quickly, but very disappointed by it all.
Wales were always going to up their game after a result last week, so it was always going to be a tough game. But is there an explanation for the first 10 minutes? Because obviously that set the rest of the game. We weren't going to come back from that.
I honestly don't know. I was watching it just all unfold, and it was really bizarre. Like I said on the side, I bet there's not a team in the country at any level of football who are 5-0 down after 10 minutes. So I actually can't put my finger on it. We had a plan. We knew the front three of theirs rotate and move, and we knew the runners from midfield, but we had a plan for that, and they didn't. None of the players did what we asked in that 10 minutes. They did after, but yeah, it just happened so quickly, and I think people were just a bit gutted, and then the next one went in, the next one, and it was just everything that hit went in, and it seemed like every time they had the ball it was in the 6 yard box, 12 yards out, all the goals, and it seemed like they didn't even have anyone on them. And the fact that we were playing five at the back and three in midfield, and one of them was supposed to be holding, we sort of wanted that not to happen, and they just had so much space and they were clinical and finished them all. So I don't really know what happened. Be very interested to watch the highlights back, to be honest, because I couldn't pinpoint who was at fault for the goals, but I think collectively it was just a shambles, to be honest. So yeah, I think we got better after that. I know that they still scored, what was it, two more goals. But yeah, I think in the this clutching at straws, but I do think there was nothing in it after that. I think we competed. I do think they were a little bit better than us, but this is what I said to the lads, that they have to stay in games when you're under the cosh, not concede. Well, definitely not concede five, but in terms of don't concede 1, 2, 3. If you concede one, or try not to concede at all when you're really under it, and then you keep yourself in the game. But the game was over after 10 minutes, so it was damage limitation. So it's a bit disheartening when the game is over after 10 minutes, but it was. They're a quality side. You're never going to score that many back. So yeah, I don't really know what happened, but yeah, it was frustrating to watch.
What are your thoughts then looking forward? Because we've got Wales again at home in the Cup.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts going into that? Is that going to be an assumption that let's just concentrate on the league?
I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest. I mean, that's coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, no, I can promise we'll be better than that. It'll be a night game, and we'll have, we had a few players out today, and I still back the youngsters. I think that some of them have done play really well today, and I think it's a learning progress, and maybe it'll do them good in the long run. But I think sticking with some of them there, they're not in there just because they're young, and it's just a ticking a box or making us try to look good and we're playing a young side. They're in there because they're Western League players. You look at Ash and Corey and Eddie and all these sort of people, and even the more experienced ones that are like Brighty and Luke Curtis and people like that, they're only like low 20s in terms of age. So it's a team that I think will get better, and hopefully they'll learn from stuff like this. But yeah, we've got games. I honestly do think all games are winnable. We proved that last week at Cheddar. So, but we have got easier. I say easier. I mean, we're in a bad run of form, but we've played Cheddar and Wales, who are probably the top two teams in the league. So we've got that out of the way, and now we've got teams in and around us, and we're a lot more competitive and hopefully pick up more points and start again from here.
And we're missing our quote unquote our first choice keeper with Adam Clatworthy. What's the update on him? Because we've gone through 5 keepers now, up until today, a new keeper today. What's the update on Clats?
Well, he doesn't really know at the moment. It was a really serious one with what he had with the blood clot in his arm, and they don't know. I mean, he was here today, so you're watching, and he's desperate to get back, and we're looking forward to having him back. But the young lad who we come in today actually thought played well. I don't think he was at fault for any of the goals or could have saved any, and I think he made some good saves. I felt really sorry for him, and we pretty much said that the players needed to apologise at half time, and hopefully he stays. But yeah, we spoke to everyone, and Mark knew that we need a keeper. To play 5 keepers in 8 league games is ridiculous. So we've tried other things and stuff, but Klatz really, it just hit us for 6 when he got injured because he's so reliable normally. So he played all last year once he came. So the fact that now we've got this lad in who we've got a lot of faith in, we think he's a good one for the future and good now. I think he showed that today. So he'll play now until Klatz comes back and he can compete, and Mart's there as well. So we just want a bit of stability in that area, and that's why we've signed a keeper who can play every week. And Mart can be there as well, and he's going to get him through it, being the new keeper coach and give him his experience, and we hope that can sort of change it. So to answer your question, I don't think Klatz is back anytime soon. I think he's hopeful, but the doctors, I'm not sure, are going to sort of risk it with him. It's a pretty serious one. So we're planning to not have him again this season, but hoping that it might happen. So it's sort of taking that one as it comes, really.
Yeah. And next week, we're at home again to Welton. What are your thoughts in what's going to change going into next week? Is it going to be another player rotation? Are you going to be changing the tactics? What are your thoughts?
It's so difficult, this, because you almost want to keep players in to try and keep continuity, because I'm sure it's not helping changing all the time. I think players, to be honest, need to step up a little bit in terms of being available. It's far too often that we have, you don't see other teams. You look at their teams week in, week out, they've got the same 14, 16 sort of squad, and we don't. We're so lucky that we've got over 20 players because we need them, really. We've just got constantly changing, and it doesn't help. So I don't want to chuck people out and keep rotating just for the sake of it, but we have got like Zach back from suspension, who it never would have happened if he was in the middle, just because of his organisation and his leadership. So he'll be back, and we've got the 2 new strikers coming back, and hopefully a couple of others who weren't available. So it'll be up to me. I'll sort of assess it all, watch the highlights, and then decide from there who deserves to stay in and who deserves to come back in, and try and blend it as best I can so we get the win next week. That's the aim, and hopefully that'll be we'll think about throughout the week, and that'll be it.